So I've just started the recording and we'll kick off. It's 7:30 here and 8:30 in New South Wales. So as I said, my name is Sally Dymond. I'm from Brisbane, Australia in Redcliffe, and I own and operate a clinic called The Body Specialist. I've been a therapist for 28 years and specialising in sports injuries, pain, backs, necks, shoulders, anything really that goes wrong with the body. I've been dealing with athletes, weekend warriors, young people, all the way up to, I think, a 94-year-old has been my oldest patient. So tonight we're going to be talking about a technology, a breakthrough in science, and one of the greatest discoveries, I believe, that's hit the market in the last few years. I'm going to go through and share my story of how I heard about ASEA and a little bit of the journey along the way. So I've been involved now for about 3.5, nearly 4 years. And in the beginning, I joined a presentation just like this, and I was a super skeptic. I didn't really believe anything I saw, and I sat for about 9 months and watched, and in disbelief, actually, trying to debunk and, poo-poo most of what I was seeing. So listen with open ears and open eyes, and get off the skeptical fence and just try it. That's going to be my advice to all of you that haven't tried it yet. So as you can see on the front screen here, this is an area that we can encompass health and wellness, athletes, anti-aging, beauty, or if it's time, money and freedom that you're looking for, then we can probably help you with that as well. So in the beginning, that was not something that I was terribly interested in because I have a really successful business, but time was my big problem. So these are a few questions up here that we're going to start the presentation with. Why does your body age? Why does your body get sick? And why does your body seem to stop working as you age? So you can see the person on the left there. We all want to stay looking like that, but somehow we end up looking like the person there on the right. So, it happens very quickly. I don't know about you, but my kids are growing up really, really fast. They're 10 and 12 now, and one's about to start high school. So they say when that happens, it's downhill, slippery slide, and we're hitting old, and they're also hitting, those late teenage years. So we want to try and keep up with the kids, and they're madly into sport now, just like I was. So it's made us get back into into exercising and trying to stay fit so we can keep up with the kids. So these products have really helped us maintain our health and our fitness. Whoops, my computer's a bit slow here. So I'm a member of the ASEA Medical Professionals Board, which was just a recent announcement this year. So I'm excited to sit on that board with some of the top people in ASEA. And my rank is a double diamond. That just means I've helped a lot of people along the way and building quite a big team. And the team extends globally now. So in the beginning, my business here was just in Redcliffe. I've always worked one-on-one with clients, standing at a treatment table, and loving what I do, helping my patients recover from all sorts of pain and injuries and suffering, but I could only help one person at a time. So when I was introduced to ASEA, that all started to change, and I'll highlight some of the things that started to change there and how I could start to expand globally. A couple of the positions I've held recently in the last 10 to 15 years, I got to work on the best cruise ship in the world. So I sailed around the world on Crystal Symphony. It's an exotic cruise ship. I spent 8 months at sea as the head massage therapist. And shortly after disembarking from that ship, I worked on the WTA tennis circuit, which is the Women's Tennis Association. And I got to travel with Venus and Serena, Martina Navratilova, all the women tennis players from 10, 15 years ago. I was their masseuse. And I was alongside them for every event, pretty much, the Grand Slams and everything in between, and helping Maria Sharapova become #1 in the world. So it was a fantastic job that I held for 5 years, exhausting on many levels, but, great job to have when I was single with no family. I then settled down, and my husband's American, so we had our children in the States and then brought them back here 10 years ago. So before that, of course, I was a swimmer. I missed the Olympics in 1992 for Barcelona by 0.04 of a second. So hard work was kind of my middle name. There was just endless hours of the black line and pumping weights in the gym and running. Quite a lot of work for one lap. It was one lap, one breath, and I missed by a fingernail. So, hard work was something that I was accustomed to, and it's been drilled into me from, very, very early age. So as I said, I had my clinic here and I worked really, really long days. I've always stood at a treatment table, and just every single dollar I've earned with my hands. So when ASEA came into my life, as I said, I was skeptical, but I was looking for a product that would help my clients recover faster and help them have something at home. So when injury or illness or something happened, they had at least one tool that they could use to help speed up the healing process in the body, or especially for the kids. If you have kids, you know what it's like when they're always hurting themselves, they've got growing pains, they're always complaining about something not being right. And as a busy mum, the last thing you want to be doing is getting them to the doctor, and it's that constant, caring for the kids. So when you've got a few tools in your toolkit at home, we don't spend any time at the doctor. We can generally take care of things. So one of the things that we're going to share with you tonight is something that you can have in your house with the kids, and it works on a number of different things. Amazing. So let's get started. ASEA's mission, when you partner and you have a great business and a great company, you want to be aligned with people that are on a mission. And ASEA's mission is to better people's lives and be a force for good in the world. When I first looked at this, I actually flew to the States. I flew there to just see what the company was about, what the people were about. Was it for real? You read a lot of things on the internet. Some of them are good, some of them are not so good. Lots of skeptical comments that were coming through. And I just really wanted to see for myself, the nuts and bolts of how it worked and where it all started. So I made that trip to the States, and I got to see, breathe, and feel exactly what this company is. And their vision is to become the recognized global leader in cellular health and redox-based technologies, and achieve global distribution of ASEA's life-changing products, financial opportunity, and culture. So that's a pretty broad vision that you can see there, and it really fit in alignment with how I am. I've always had this dream and this goal of helping people globally, and it just seemed to fit. I didn't really know what I was in for when I really embarked on this journey, because I was really only looking for a product that worked, that I could add to my toolkit in my clinic. And so when you meet the founders of this company, Vertus and Tyler Norton, this is the two gentlemen that actually started it. The story is quite remarkable. I won't go into great detail because you can actually see it on video if you go to ASEAgenesisvideo.com. It highlights exactly how ASEA started. But one of the highlights for me was when they had this amazing technology, one of the important words to remember here is stable. What they did is they took a product that's made from salt and water through an electrochemical process, and it produces redox molecules. So that's essentially the main ingredient of what we're talking about, and it's mimicked exactly what your body makes. So your body makes these redox molecules. They're fleeting, fast-acting communicators within the cells of the body. But the problem is that they're fast, fleeting, and they're very hard to replicate. So science has been able to, they've been trying for decades to replicate these molecules, but the trouble is that they would go back to salt and water. They couldn't actually get the composition and the formula right. And it wasn't until these two gentlemen banded together with Gary Samuelson, an atomic medical physicist, that they were able to stabilize these molecules and keep them in that active form. So when we use them, either topically or internally, they then become active and replenish our body. So we're going to go through some of the science that's involved with this, but just if I've piqued your interest there, really go and have a look at that video, ASEAgenesisvideo.com, and you'll learn, you'll see the honesty, the integrity, and the pure mission that these two gentlemen have started, and the legacy that Vertus wants to leave to the world in creating and stabilizing these molecules for us. The kicker for me was really at the end where, they had the technology. He was retiring. He was a wealthy man. He was the CEO of Strategy for Kraft Foods, very big American company. And, he was not looking for a business. He was not looking for an opportunity. And when they came across this and they found the stability of it, it was a company that was saleable. So, he was looking to really sell it. And of course, the people you would invite in to look at a health technology would be the big pharmaceutical companies. And two of them did come in, sit with them for the day. And at the end of that day, they were quite amazed at what they saw, except they offered them $1 billion cash. And of course, as Big Pharma does, there's a big, controversy that is going on out there. Big Pharma wants a monopoly of the market. And when a product comes into the market that could potentially threaten or be in competition with them. What they offered was $1 billion cash, and that's a lot of money for anyone to refuse. But the condition was that they were going to close the company down and destroy everything and make it go away. So these two gentlemen said no to all of that. And the reason we're sitting here today is because they were humble enough to say this can and will change the health of the world, and it needs to get into the hands of people. So we really needed to keep the big pharma world out of it. And the reason you're sitting here today is because someone cares for you and loves you and has invited you to hear the presentation, in hope that you'll understand the principle of how this works and that you'll actually try it for yourself. Because the results, you know, there's research and there's results. You have to have both, but results is one thing that I look at. So in the beginning, I was kind of, you know, when I look at something, and I always look at everything that comes onto the market, because you never know, one day something amazing is going to come into the market and you just don't want to miss out. That's kind of my belief. So when I look, it has to be different. So it has to be a different product than what is out there, and there has to be an advantage that comes with it, and it has to be sustainable. So when you compare this to a lot of things that are out there in the market, ASEA was ticking all of the boxes for me. So different, you cannot buy this on the shelf at any other supermarket anywhere else in the world. It's a one-of-a-kind product. There's a number of patents that are on the technology, on the equipment of how to make it, and also the process that goes into making it. So no one is going to come close to competing with us for a very long time. The advantage is that we have something that's different, and it touches several systems of the body, and it creates a massive advantage to health. And it's the missing link, I believe, in healthcare that comes in and helps everything else work. So if you're a therapist or you're in the medical arena and you start adding this in with your clients, you'll see the same thing that I've started to see with my clients, is that they just get better. They sleep better, they feel better, their healing cycle within their body kicks in, and they actually start to respond to some of the things that they are doing. And it must be sustainable. So it has to be something that lasts. So the price has to be right. And there's a number of different factors that come into that with the sustainability. So we have ASEA as the opportunity. Of course, with every great product, there's always a great opportunity that comes with it. But first of all, you need a company that you can trust. So that was the first step I needed to do. I needed to go to the States and just see for myself. And ASEA is the most amazing company I've ever seen. They're heartfelt. They're generating a team of amazing corporate staff that I've been fortunate enough to work very closely with. A team of people and associates around the world that I now can call my friends. And it's heart-driven people all on the same mission to help one person at a time and create that ripple effect of great health. So in my travels, obviously, I've been to over 125 countries in the 10, 15 years that I was traveling. And so I have people all over the world. And what are people doing today? They're all complaining on Facebook that they're sick, that they've got no energy, that they've got some kind of health issue going on. So lucky for us with ASEA, it is a global company. We are in 31 markets and growing every year. And if you know people in any of these countries that are sick or that are just struggling on some level with their family, everyone knows someone who's been diagnosed or going through treatment, or just getting that response from the doctor of everything looks normal except the person is sitting there and they're saying, I'm not normal. There's something not right in my body. And these products can help every single one of those people. So it's a simple process where the products will ship from that warehouse into that person's door. So I'm not shipping products anywhere in the world. ASEA does that for us. And it's as simple as setting up your own account, which we'll go through, and the products are going from warehouse into that person's lounge room. There is offices, as you can see, scattered all over the world now, and there's a number of employees that ASEA has globally. So recently I was lucky to visit their head office. It's a brand new facility that they have built, purpose-built for exactly their mission and their vision. It's been well established, well appointed, it's profitable. ASEA is financially healthy. They have no long-term debt. They own their manufacturing plant and everything involved with it. Their IT, financial and payment systems are scalable, and they're ready for growth and expansion, because when you have a product that works, you need this infrastructure behind. So for the last 2 years, they have spent a lot of time and money actually getting this all together, because we're about to see some massive growth now that Asia has opened and people are starting to get it. So the second piece of the puzzle there is the actual products, complete cellular health. So when we talk about the complete package, ASEA only started with the redox molecules. They started with the liquid, and the liquid came out into the market as the ASEA redox supplement, and people were drinking that, and they drink it in a 60 ml dose. Some people will drink twice a day. Some people are drinking it 4 times a day. It depends on your condition as to the actual dosage that you're taking, and the person that's invited you here can help you with that. The second product that came out was our Renew 28, and it's actually the product that we started with here in Australia. It's my favorite product. It's very easy to use, and it works anywhere on the body. Anywhere you can put your fingers, you can put the gel. And so when we first started in our house, it was kind of a trial where we would put the gel on everything that came up. So if you were sunburnt, if the kids cut themselves, they bruised themselves, they banged themselves, they had some growing pain issues, if they had soreness, if we had soreness from the gym, anything that happened, we really just said, let's just try it on all of it. And so that tube sat on the kitchen counter, and it went on absolutely everything. And kids don't really have a placebo effect or a filter. And what started to happen is the kids started yelling out, where's the Renew? We need more. So when they started to be able to grab that tube of gel and treat themselves for everything that happened, it meant that things just got better. They got better, and we didn't even think about it the next day because they just didn't complain about it. So once I'd had some great success in the house, we started to use it on my clients. And some of the results we were getting from our clients were, you know, discomfort in the knees. There was some major swelling that disappeared. You know, people were recovering between treatments much faster and needing less time in the clinic. So, you know, sometimes people will say, but it's kind of expensive, that tube. It's certainly a lot cheaper than coming and having an appointment with me if that tube of gel can actually take care of your injury or your problem before you actually need to go and see a therapist. So consequently, that tube goes everywhere with me, in my handbag, in my car. If we go camping, there's always a tube close by. So if you have a tube and you're not using it for everything, then start experimenting on some of the other things you can do. The next thing they brought out was the skincare system, and the skincare system is comprised of those products. You can see the cleanser, the redox serum, which is a really strong concentration of the redox molecules for spot treatment, and it can be used on fine lines, wrinkles, dark circles under your eyes. I tend to have used it on my keloid scars, and it helped immensely with helping to break those down and take the redness out. Any small areas of discomfort, you might want to use that. It provides a really, really fast result. And then you can back that up with the cleanser and the moisturizer. More recently, they have launched their nutritional line, and absolutely fantastic whole food, bioavailable, completely absorbable into the body nutrition. So we now have the complete package. So we have cellular health from the outside in and cellular health from the inside out. So redox signaling molecules are contained in these 3 products. So they're the flagship products here, and that's what the active stabilized molecules are in. So if you prefer to drink them, some of the athletes out there prefer to take the liquid. I say to people, if you have a condition or a problem that you can touch with your hand, that can go from any type of skin condition to any type of muscular condition. If you have a condition in your digestive system and you can touch your area of concern and it hurts, so I would say to someone, point to where your problem is. And if they can point to it and touch it, then I say you need to put the Renew on it. And you need to use enough of the redox molecules to actually penetrate in, because the Renew gel contains redox molecules that are 2 to 4 atoms wide, and they penetrate through the skin and go right into that area. So if you have a muscular problem, once I come back from the gym, I will be rubbing that gel on whatever body part I have worked, and it helps immensely in that recovery so that you're not sore the next day. But if someone says to me that they have a health problem that they can't touch, maybe it's fatigue, maybe it's blood tests that are not showing right, they've got certain levels that are just out, maybe they're going through treatment and they've got a bunch of side effects and their body's really struggling, or they've been through treatment and they just can't get themselves back to normal. They've got thinning of the hair, they've got discomfort all over their body, they can't just point to one thing, then the liquid is really something that you probably need more. And by taking the liquid, it's going to go exactly to where it needs to go into your body to start creating that balance and harmony. So we're trying to create balance within the cells and harmony within the body. And when you can do those 2 things, the symptoms start to disappear. So one of the important things to me is research. Like I said, research and results. What's the most important? Well, you actually need both, but you can't get too fussy on some of the research out there, because that's a bit skewed when you start to look at some of the research that is going on and it's backed by companies that are paying for the research to get the result. So I always go and delve into the research as to who's funded it, who's doing it, and where is it coming from. So ASEA, they've spent millions and millions of dollars globally, and they're using third-party independent laboratories. And if you're into research, I would suggest Googling BioAgilytix, this one here on the screen. They are one of the top 10 pharmaceutical biotech companies, and they certify that the ASEA redox molecules contain active redox molecules. So really good exercise to go in there and put into Google BioAgilytix. But you can see there's lots of other companies here. Another one, Tourette Labs, they did their latest gene study test, and they always provide all the results. So it's not just the good results that ASEA wants to see, they give all of the results. Dermatest up there is a European one, and they had a lot to do with our skincare range. So they were awarded the 5-star approval, and that's a very, very hard standard to get for a skincare. Most companies are happy with 3 stars, but of course Renew 28 got the 5 stars. So super exciting that ASEA spends a lot of money, and they're very, very interested in research on all levels. So what have we learned about redox signaling molecules? Well, we've learned that it's the cell signaling within the cells and between the cells. It's the communicator that makes everything buzz and work. And without that communication, the information is not passing from cell to cell. So think of it like just say your body's, you've had an accident and you've got some major swelling that occurs and inflammation in the body. Well, the first thing the body has to recognize is that there is inflammation there, and it sends inflammation there for a reason, to help protect. But we don't want that inflammation to hang around and stay swollen. We want the body to kickstart that next process. So it needs to detect first that there is inflammation, and then it needs to send, I call it the good guys, in to start the repair phase. Once the repair phase kicks in, it needs to either A, repair it, or it needs to be able to kill that damage and have new healthy cells formed. If you don't have enough of these cell signaling molecules within your body in that area, then the job's ability to detect, repair, and replace these molecules isn't there. So that's going to stay infected, or that bacteria is going to take hold of you, and you're going to have a virus that takes over your body. So you need to have enough of these redox signaling molecules. The problem is that when we turn 40, the number of these molecules our body naturally produces declines by 50%. And if we have these molecules declining by 50%, it means that when we turn 40, guess what? Where our eyes go, our knees go, our joints go. And when these things start to go, we try and start to do triathlons. We try to go back to running. Actually, just last weekend at the Noosa Triathlon, one of our close friends, he actually passed away, and he had a heart attack in the cycling leg. And it's very, very common for a 40 to 49-year-old to actually die during triathlon races. When you Google, heart attacks in triathletes, you'll start to read all of the different stories that come up on the internet. And it's because this is what's happening. At 40 to 49, our number of these molecules is diminishing by 50%. And we all think that we're superwoman and superhuman, and we can go back to doing what we did when we were 20, except, we've had kids and we've been stressed, and we've got damage already starting to kick into our body. And, when this starts to happen, we just haven't got the output that we need to be able to function. So one thing I've noticed, especially since taking these molecules, and lucky for me, I started when I was 41, and, I was able to go back to exercise. I had not been able to exercise for a number of years after my swimming because I was working too hard. I'd had my kids. I was kind of out of shape. And when I started to introduce ASEA into my life, my energy came back. My mojo came back. I would say I started to get a little bit competitive. I did go and do the Noosa Triathlon and the Mooloolaba Triathlon 3 times. And I was able to go back to having fun and not being exhausted. So it's a really, really important thing now that we can supplement our body, because there's nothing else in the world that touches this, that supplements this signaling function between our cells. So I will never stop taking it. And it's funny, when I get together with people now, they say I haven't changed. Maybe my hair's gone grey, but I really don't have a line or a wrinkle on my face, and I've got the energy to keep up with my kids now. So let's see who wins the swimming race between my kids soon. So the second thing we've learned here is the cell function and efficiency. So when our cells are functioning at the optimal level and they're efficiently operating, the job and the ability to detect, repair, and replace is working. So if something comes in to our body, an inflammation or a virus or a bacteria, we're very quickly able to address this and spin it over and have new cells forming, just like we did when we were a kid. So if we cut ourselves as a child and if we cut ourselves as an 80-year-old, which one heals faster? Always the child, because they're flourishing with this ability to detect, heal, and repair very quickly. As an older person, it gets infected, we've got that flaky skin. So if you can blob that Renew 28 into that cut and that open wound, you'll see amazing results of how quickly that will heal. And we're starting to see amazing results now from burns, from major wounds, you know, and it's a great experiment in our house when something happens, because we always want to take a photo of the before and after. And I'm always stunned and surprised at how quickly the liquid will stop the bleeding, or the gel by just putting it straight on. So, you know, if you cut yourself in the shower shaving, just do it. Put that Renew 28 on and watch how quickly that stops that healing, starts that healing process. The other thing we've learned is that it turns on genetic activity. So the latest gene study, which you'll find on ASEAscience.com, it shows that it turns on our genes associated with 5 major systems of the body: digestive health, hormone modulation, cardiovascular health, inflammatory response, and our immune system. So as a therapist, I'm mainly treating major inflammation. But if you look at what's happening out there in the health world, and when everyone is so sick, it pretty much hits all of these systems. The immune system's dysfunctional. That's why we're getting attacked with all these viruses and bugs, and we can't actually, you know, heal ourselves. Our inflammatory, everything ends in itis. We've got conjunctivitis, we've got gastritis, we've got Achilles tendonitis, we've got all the itises out there. It's just it's inflammation of something. So if we can get our inflammation markers and our inflammation in our body down, then we're not going to have all these itises that keep coming into our vocabulary when we're talking about our body. Hormones is a big one, especially with the thyroid. Major hormone dysregulation going on out there from plastics, from all sorts of things. If we can be taking these redox signaling molecules and help our genetic activity with all of these systems, then you'll find you don't end up at the doctor and you're not turning 40 and 50 and struggling with a number of conditions here. A big one, cardiovascular health. And of course, it's one of the top, you know, 2 killers in the world is that cardiac problem. My computer is slow. So I spoke a little bit about athletes, and ASEA does sponsor a number of athletes. And the really important thing to note here is that ASEA does not pay their athletes any money. And, you know, that always sounded really good to me, but someone put it in perspective the other day when someone said something about, oh, well, you know, ASEA associates, they're making so much money, you know, the product is overpriced. And I had to sit back and think for a minute and go, well, isn't it funny that you've got, you know, some of these top athletes that are sponsored by Nike, and you've got Tiger Woods, and, you know, he's paid millions upon millions of dollars by Nike to just wear his shoes. Whether he likes them or not, I'd probably wear them as well if someone was paying me $1 million. But ASEA doesn't pay their athletes anything. They give them the product to use, and the athletes absolutely love using it. So, you know, when an athlete is asked to endorse a product, they usually want to be paid for it. But ASEA athletes absolutely love getting the product for free, and they get their apparel, obviously, to wear. But we've got some really, really cool athletes. We've got Brie Larson. She was an Olympic gold medalist, a swimmer. Cody Miller, he also won a gold medal at the Rio Olympics. We've got snowboarders. We've got endurance racers. Dexter Yates is an amazing Iron woman, Ironman triathlete. She's competing in Ironman after Ironman event. She's in Cozumel at the moment. She's 73 years old, and she was just crowned world champion. So she attests her recovery and her stamina and her endurance and her performance to ASEA. So athletes are using it because it enhances their recovery. And at the gym just the other day, actually for me personally, Friday is legs day, and the class that I'm in, everyone is crippled for the week. The weekend, they can't walk, they can't sit. And the coach actually said to me, Sally, how are you going with your legs? And I said, well, actually, I just rubbed the Renew 28 on my legs and they're all good. But that one particular day, I thought, you know what, I'm not going to do it today, and I'm just going to see. And I spent that entire weekend as a cripple. So I will never do that again. But it was a really good test to see, because it's just natural for me to get out of the shower. And, you know, after I've worked a body part, I just rub it on my face, I rub it on my thyroid, and I rub it on whatever body part I've done. And it makes an enormous difference. So if you're working out and you are getting sore, just give it a whirl. Just try it and see what happens for you. It revitalizes and renews the skin at every level. So why would you be putting these toxic chemicals and creams on your face when you can be putting redox molecules that are working from the outside in, and they're affecting the basic elemental level of your body, which is the cells. When you're putting all these chemicals on your skin, and they're moisturizers and a lot of these skin products, they're sitting on that top layer of your skin, and it's a moisturizer. In Renew 28, there is no moisturizer, because what's happening is it's renewing and revitalizing your skin from the inside out. So when your skin is operating properly and you've slothed off all the dead skin cells and you've renewed it, it doesn't really need moisturizer. If you're living in a dry climate or you're in air conditioning a lot, that might be different. You might need a moisturizer. But after 28 days, your skin will start to normalize. For some people that have got a skin condition, that is going to take longer. For me, I had red, irritated, horrible skin. And that was the first reason that I actually tried to use the Renew Gel, because I thought, I wonder if this will help clear my face. And it really took about 4 or 5 months before I really noticed a big difference. And now my kids say to me, it's the first time ever my skin was smooth after about 8 or 9 months. And every year it just keeps getting better and better. So, you know, and so it can go everywhere. It goes all over the body. And I've seen results from stretch marks to saggy, loose skin to dry skin. But just be mindful that the skin does renew itself every 28 days. And in the beginning, it can start to dry out. You need to get that skin process working, and that old dead skin cells has to come off first. So if you're getting that kind of tight feeling in your face, then just add some moisturizer or coconut oil on top, and that's no problem at all. But it will start to normalize. So the experts are saying, Anne-Louise Gittleman, she's written 30 books. She's a fantastic authority on nutrition. She says, ASEA, in my humble estimation, is the greatest advance in lifestyle medicine, which harnesses the power of your own body to keep you well. And Gary Samuelson, he was the gentleman that was able to stabilize these molecules. He did what no one else was able to do in the science community. We all say that he will probably one day be awarded a Nobel Prize. I sincerely hope he does, because what he's done is incredible. He says this technology has the potential to spearhead the greatest advances in health that we have ever seen. So I can guarantee there's hundreds of medical professionals, thousands of lives changed worldwide. This is a movement that's now starting to sweep. And, you know, it's funny when people start to look at this and they want to really drill down and nitty gritty and get into what it is and research it, yet they're very happy to go to the chemist or the health food shop and buy anything off the shelf. And if it's got good marketing and it looks good on the shelf and in the packet, they'll start swallowing it and putting it on their face, which is always amazing to me when they come to us and we've got something that's so safe. You know, the company spent over $7 million on safety studies and put it through so many stringent tests that, you know, it is 100% non-toxic and safe, and I would use it on a newborn baby if I had one. And yet you see people out in the shops putting all these toxic chemicals inside and onto their body. So someone said to me, but how do you know it's got redox in it? And I said, well, it goes back to that research and results. You can spend a lot of time researching what redox is, and you can do that on pubmed.gov, research redox signaling molecules. Or you can just look at the thousands of testimonials of people's results that you'll find on all the Facebook pages. If you're not in some of the secret groups, then ask the person that invited you to add you to those groups, because that's where all the really cool information is sitting. And it's not, people aren't making this up anymore. There's so many testimonials and stories out there that it's not a fluke and it's not being made up. I can promise that. So, but it's a bit like the Apple, you know, you can hold your computer up to an Apple TV, no wires and no plugs, and whatever's on your computer screen then appears on the TV. When I first saw that happen, I was kind of aghast. I was at someone's house and I don't use Apple technology. And, you know, I've put my presentation onto this girl's computer, a 10-year-old, and she's just whipped it up onto the screen. And I thought, how on earth does that work? Well, we all just go, well, that's just how it is. That's just, you know, how Apple is. I can guarantee that very, very soon people are going to hurt themselves or get sick, and people are going to say, well, why don't you just use redox on that? It's going to become something that's just equated with. So we're pioneers in this, and the technology is moving now, and it's being discovered, and the world is starting to find out. So it's a very, very exciting time for all of us that have been using it, and it's more exciting for the people that are just starting to find out. There's pioneers and there's followers, and there's people that kind of wait and just, you know, are laggers. And it depends which area you fit into there. It doesn't matter. Just don't miss out and get on and just try it, because the results is what's going to convince you in the end. So we have to be very careful that we don't mention that we can cure anything. ASEA and Renew 28 are not intended to prevent, diagnose, treat or cure any disease or medical condition. This is a medical disclaimer, and we have to be careful with this, because only a doctor can cure and treat an actual condition. And this is not just associated with this product. This is actually a disclaimer that is carried through every allied health professional. As an acupuncturist, massage therapist, scannotherapist, I cannot claim to cure anyone's injury or illness. We can get into really, really big trouble for doing that. So when we use terminology with ASEA, it's always associated with the symptoms. So when you're reading some of these testimonials and Facebook groups, you have to kind of put two and two together on what the actual condition is, because most of the time, hopefully, they will never mention the actual itis or, you know, the medical condition there. So just be aware of that. So some photos here that you might have seen before, but some really good ones of the face. There's some scars, redness, irritation. You can use it absolutely everywhere. So some people will get into this because they're vain. They don't like the way they look. And when they start to use it on their face, what happens is they start to get more energy. They start to get a spring in their step. People start to say, man, you look really good, but I can't put my finger on why you're looking really good. You get color back into your face because it increases skin blood flow by 49%. So really remarkable things start to happen when you start to use it on your body. So like I said, put it wherever your fingers go. This here is a slide of thermal imaging. So you can see here different images of knees, lower backs, breast and hand. Red is not good. So they have a before and an after. So the before photo, and then they applied the redox gel 3 times in 5 minutes most of the time there. And you can see how that redness starts to dissipate. So some people obviously feel it in their body when they use it. Some people like that research and that proof on paper. This is just some pretty interesting photographs. So the power of redox technology. So we spoke about it being unique. It's certainly cutting edge. It's exclusive, patent protected. It has a huge, high impact on everywhere you put it in the body. It's validated, it's credible, it's been approved. There's no more guessing needed here. We know it works, and we have the science. So if you're into science, ASEAScience.com is where you should go to spend some time. That's where they put all their science and their studies. And it's a really simple message. If you are sick and you are unwell, and you can locate where it is and what system of that body, if you can break that system down into organs, tissues, it all breaks down to a cell, and the cell breaks down into a redox molecule. It's the essence and the very beginning of how this all starts. So it works on every cell of the body, in every system of the body, and it's something we need, because without redox in our cells, we die. At 80 years old, you're running at 10%. When you're terminal, you're pretty much empty. You've got no ability to function on any level. So when we start to pour redox in very, very large quantities, I mean, there's been some incredible stories of people come out of palliative care. So, you know, it's about topping up that ability of the body to detect, repair and heal. We all have an expiry date. We are all going to die, but why not live when you're alive and not be half dead when you're just, you know, trying to struggle through? So I intend to take it forever. It's made a huge difference to our family, and I want so many more people to enjoy the benefits of what redox is. So that's the flagship products. We've got cellular health from the inside out, and we need proper nutrition. So you can't just rely on redox. You obviously need the nutrition as well. It's a bit like building a house. You can't just have the materials sitting out there on a spare block and hope that it actually goes up. You need to have the labor. So redox signaling molecules provide the labor that detects, protects and rejuvenates cells, allowing nutrients, which are the materials that nourish the body, to be used properly by the cells. So you can see here significant health trends. Our general health is declining. Why? Because the environment, our lack of good nutrition in our food, our increase in stress and workload, people aren't exercising and moving anymore. Modern medicine is focused on treating and not preventing. Medical professionals don't really care about you if you're well. They're only focused on the sick. And even if your blood tests are on the low side of the normal, they're really not interested because they're sitting in the normal bracket. They want it to fall abnormal before they do anything. So you don't want to be in that category where all your blood test results are sitting on that low and you're lagging and you're struggling, but the doctor's saying you're normal. You want to be sitting in that right in that healthy mid-range. And when you start adding nutrition and redox, that's what happens. Your blood test results start to change. It's certainly what we see in our practice. And when they're on it for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and 12 months, that's when you see significant changes because the body has to detect. It then has to create apoptosis, cell suicide, and do a cleanup process, and then the new healthy cells are formed. So just drinking 1 bottle is not going to do it. Drinking 4 bottles probably won't do it. If you're really sick and you've been sick for a really long time, you're probably going to need to be on it for a good 12 months, 18 months. And then you can really look back at that year before and go, I sleep better, my mood's better, my energy's better. You know, life is just better. And that's how you want to progress through life, not struggling. So the health of our cells in our body, that's the foundation of our health. So we have a $200 billion nutritional industry out there. How do you pick what you take? That's the really hard thing. Most of the products out there on the market I wouldn't touch because A, they're made of inferior products. They're not absorbable into the body. A lot of these products on the market contain ingredients that they're not actually putting on the label, so you don't really know what you're getting. And when you got these tablets, they're actually not being absorbed into your body. You're actually peeing them out and they're coming out and they're getting stuck to your intestine wall and building up, and you don't really want that. So I can assure you ASEA uses only the finest ingredients. Now I sit on the medical board, I get access to lots of cool information, and some of it I can share, some of it I can't. But really, really amazing research and development that goes into producing everything that comes out of ASEA. So the third part here, we have our compensation plan. I never entered this for any money other than earning some retail profit, which is what happens when you walk into a place and you buy a product. Everything you buy and purchase out there is sold at retail price, and someone is making money off it. Whether it's the shop or it's the internet company or it's someone that you're buying overseas. So when I started to introduce Renew, I wanted my clients to have a lot of it because a lot of them needed a lot of it. And I didn't want to be making money off them. So I simply asked them to open an account with ASEA and buy it at my price. I was very excited that I could offer a product off my shelf at the wholesale price and not at a retail price. It took the weirdness out of me trying to recommend a product where they think I'm just trying to flog them something and make some money off it. I really didn't care that they were getting it at my price, and I didn't really understand the compensation plan when I started. But what happened is I did this with a number of my clients, all in the bit of just trying to help them get more for a better price. And ASEA then started to send me checks every week. And that was a welcome surprise. At the time, my husband was out of work. He was a contractor. His contractor had just ended. And we kind of joked and said that maybe he wouldn't have to go back to work if this kept happening. Well, he did go back to work 6 months later because, you know, he was driving me crazy around the house. But what did happen is that I kept sharing ASEA with people, and ASEA kept paying me money. So it meant that I could scale back a little bit on my clinic, spend more time with my kids, actually get out and exercise a little bit more. And ASEA offers some amazing opportunities of travel, conventions, and just lifestyle things that I've been able to take my family to the Bahamas. We've been to Mexico, to amazing resorts, and just to hang out with the founders, the corporate, and now call a lot of these top ASEA people my friends is absolutely amazing. So there's a whole stream of ways you can make money if you're in it and you're looking for an income and you're looking for a second job or just something to supplement your family home life. You can do it as a customer and start charging retail price. You start to earn some money. When you start to enroll people, ASEA gives you some money to say thank you for bringing someone into the ASEA family. When you start to bring 2 people in, you might get a director's bonus, and then you start to earn commissions and executive momentum pools, and then the Dymond pools the further you go, and it's all dependent on how how much time you want to put in telling people about this. I don't know about you, but every single person that I come in touch with tells me about someone they know that's sick or that they themselves are tired. So it's simply a matter of sharing with people, you know, that you have something that they may be interested in. Some people are just not interested, and that's okay too. So it all goes back to timing. Timing is everything. Like I said, I sat for 9 months, 9 months where I just didn't get it. I just didn't think I had time, and I wasn't really interested because I didn't think it was real. But thankfully I sat in that Facebook group and I watched, and I was able to get off the skeptical fence and actually try it. And the proof is in the pudding. When you start to use it, you can't dispute the results. So all I can say is that, you know, timing is everything, and that's the trajectory of what is happening with ASEA. We are really only just beginning, because the line there is about to shoot straight up. And the projection of what's happening every week in ASEA is that they're actually doubling and doubling and doubling. So, you know, if this looks good to you and you think you can help a lot of people and you know a lot of people, then why not become part of the team? So that's the four components there into ASEA as the opportunity: different, sustainable, and now the question is, where do you see yourself? So I want everyone to have access to ASEA products, whether they're using just the gel or the liquid, the skincare, the nutritionals, or all of it. You know, you don't have to use all of it. You can pick one to start with. And, you know, if you're already using skincare and it's toxic and it's got a long list of ingredients, then please replace it with Renew. When you replace it with Renew, you'll start to see some of the added benefits that happen. You can buy it retail, you can buy it at wholesale. If you like to share it with your friends and family, you become a sharer, and ASEA will start to pay for your products. If you want to do a little more than sharing it, and you see the vision and the dream and the mission of ASEA and you want to be part of that, you can come cruising and holidaying with us. We'd love to have new people join us. And if you're looking for a new family, someone that's you know, more like-minded, then there's so many people of all ages and shapes and forms in ASEA, from medical professionals to real estate agents to people that have just fed up with their life and they're looking for something new. So, you know, everyone starts in box 1, we move to box 2, and we, you know, might end up in box 3. It's not something you might want to do, but it's something that just happens when you're passionate about it. So it's $60 to start. It's the cheapest business you'll ever enter. And it's really just about using the product, sharing the product, and tapping into some of these amazing webinars that we have, and getting the professionals that have been doing this for a long time to actually explain it. So you have a team behind you that can help. But Vertus has a really great quote that we like to end with, and he says, we're all at the start of something big with great purpose, and right now is the moment we begin influencing the future. We can change the world. He's an amazing man. I hope you get to meet him one day or watch some of his YouTubes, or his son Tyler Norton, because you're life-changing. That's all I can say there. So that's pretty much my presentation, and thank you for joining us here this evening. Hope you enjoyed it, and if you have any questions, please go back to the person that invited you. Let me just see if there is any questions. Thank you everyone, and good night. The recordings are going to be up on redoxdymonds.com, so you can flick through all of the recordings there. There's several presentations from all the diamonds, and yeah, you can share them with everyone. So share it with the world and get busy. Good night.